it's Margaret Wallace Duffy, and welcome to Wow Living's Healthy Mom, Healthy Baby Show. We are coming to you from Stratosphere Yoga here in Vaughan, and we got a great show for you today. We have a fantastic lineup of guests, and of course, an audience full of mums and beautiful babies. So sit back, relax, and be ready to get all kinds of education about a holistic approach to health and well-being for you and your family. Stay tuned. Don't go away. Well, it's that time of day to sit back, put the kids to bed, and listen to what we have to share with you. I'm really excited to have Dr. Nadine Manson sitting beside me. Now, Wallace for Wellness now has a doctor's breastfeeding clinic in our facility, and I have to tell you, she is one of less than 100 physicians worldwide with her designation as a fellow in the Academy of Breastfeeding. Dr. Manson, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Now, you know, it's been a long time since I was breastfeeding. However, you were my doctor and you were my savior. Let's talk a little bit about your passion for educating on breastfeeding and the benefits of why we should think about it.
Well, Mark, I breastfed my 4 children, including a set of twins, and it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of perseverance. The reason we do it is not just for the mommy-baby bond, but for fewer chest infections, less wheezing, healthier babies in the long run. And what's really interesting in the research we have coming through now is that it shows us that it's not just healthier babies and healthier toddlers. We're finding that these children have lower cholesterol rates, and now those children are being followed later in life, and hopefully what we're going to see is less heart disease, less stroke as they age. We know for sure there's less diabetes, there's less leukemia, there's less what we call in medicine autoimmune diseases, which would be like rheumatoid arthritis and colitis, all those things. It decreases all of that. And not only for the baby are there advantages, it decreases breast cancer and ovarian cancer rates for the mom.
You know what? It's amazing. I as a science person, I love to hear about the research. But as a mom, the bonding and the time with your baby in those early days is just, I remember it. It was an amazing time, but it was also a really difficult time. It's not something that we naturally know how to do, and that's why your clinic is so helpful.
Well, I always say that breastfeeding is a very natural thing to do, but it doesn't always come naturally.
Yes.
And you know, when those first few days, if you don't have a good latch and it hurts, and you just go, I can't do this anymore, and occasionally the nipples are bleeding, you need to get help.
Yes.
You need to get the help so that you're not living through that.
Now, at the Doctor's Breastfeeding Clinic, which runs 5 mornings a week, what do you see there? What are some of the common things that you're seeing?
A lot poor latch, because we can fix the pain when we get a good latch.
Right.
Sometimes people feeling there's not enough milk because we're so used to formula-fed babies feeding every 4 hours, and this baby wants to feed every 2 or 2.5.
Right.
And there's really definite patterns in breastfeeding babies that I can tell people, yes, that's normal. No, that's not normal. We need to help you change things.
Well, you know what? You're absolutely right. Having you and your team there to reassure and to really support during those early days is so important. Now, you're going to be coming back a little bit later on in the show. I'm sure we've got some questions from social media that are going to want to be answered. So thanks for joining us. You are going to stick around.
I'm definitely sticking around.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Mark. Hi, ladies. You know, motherhood is one of the most rewarding and also one of the most challenging experiences of our lives. I have a 5-year-old and he's almost 6. And when he was in my tummy, you know, I remember thinking, this will be easy. You know, as a type A personality, I used to get a lot of things done, and I really didn't expect much in my life to change. I mean, I knew I was quite an organized person, and so I just figured, hey, I'll just make it work. But when my son was born, I was hugely shocked at the change in my life, the change in my schedule, and how quickly I lost myself in the caring for my son. You know, we as moms are such heartfelt creatures, and, you know, you'll relate to this, that when our children are born, there is just so much love, so much unconditional love, and that all we think about is taking care of them and making them the most important thing in the world. And this is great, except for when we lose ourselves in the process and when we forget about ourselves in the equation of our families and in our lives. And so, ladies, it's very important that you take time for you. You know, one of the things that I used to do, and I still do to this day, is I like to get up early before everyone else gets up and spend a little time doing my exercise. I might do a little reading. I definitely do my prayer and meditation, which is hugely important to me. And I just take off that mama hat just for a little while, just so I can be me. I make time with girlfriends. I make time to do some of the things I love, such as walking and going to the movies. And that is hugely important in allowing me to manifest my best as a parent, but also in other aspects of my life. And I find, as do my clients when they do this also, that we are better parents. We're better people all round. And so, ladies, I want you to think about this. You know, when you get on an airplane and that safety procedure begins, then the flight attendants come out and they say, in the unlikely event that the plane should go down and oxygen masks drop from the ceiling, make sure that you put on your mask first. Now, why do they say this? Well, they tell us this because, ladies, you know, moms, we'd be like rushing around the plane, trying to take care of everybody. We'd be running out of oxygen, and then we'd pass out and we'd be no good to anybody. And this is what we're like in life. You know, we rush around, we take care of everybody else, and we forget to take care of ourselves. You forget to take care of you. But ladies, anything less than taking care of you and making yourself a priority in your life isn't really being the best for everyone else now, isn't it? And I know, you know, I had this too. My clients say this to me. We feel guilty about taking time for ourselves, or we feel like it's selfish. But the truth is, it's not selfish. This is just an idea and a belief that we have because we so desperately want to be such fantastic moms. And I applaud you and I honor you for that. But it's also just as important that you take care of you. So, ladies, I want to leave you with this today. I want you to remember that you are important, that you're the centerpiece of your family, of your workplace, of your community, and your husband, your boyfriend, your children, your friends, your co-workers, they want you to be your best. They want you to be the best that you can be. They don't want you to be cranky and irritable and feeling empty and feeling like you don't know who you are anymore. So make sure that you take that time, just 5 minutes every day, every single day. Take some time for you. Take off that mama hat and just be you. And you'll find that you'll easily manifest your best. You'll find that your days will get much easier and you'll actually become an even better parent than you already are. So thank you so much for having me on your show. I hope you will have a great day. Thanks, Marg. Back to you.
Thank you, Michelle. And of course, every woman needs a mind-body coach, and you are one of the best. Now, this show would not be the same without having our interaction from our social media hub. So Todd from Listen Up Talk Radio, and for all of you that know Wow Radio, how are we doing over there in the social media hub?
Margaret, we're having an incredible time here. Some great hashtags going around. I'm personally thrilled to be part of such a great event with these gorgeous babies and their moms, of course. And this event's going to have such a positive impact on parenting. We invite viewers and listeners, whether you're watching it now live or if you're watching it again on demand, to join the conversation and have your say by following the hashtag Moms Brunch Club or our Wow TV Health hashtag. You can find us on Twitter at wallace4wellness.com. Hopefully I can count. We'd really like to thank Boron Canada again as well for making this event possible, and of course Trish Stratus and Stratosphere for opening the doors and welcoming us with open arms.
Thank you, Todd. We'll be coming back to you a little bit later, so hang tight. Now, let me tell you, we are very honored to have in studio with us my doctor and a good friend. She's been on WOW TV before, and I have to read her bio, so hang tight because it's incredibly impressive. Dr. Christy Prause. She began her academic career at the University of Western with a Bachelor of Psychology. She has a BSc in Genetics and Cell Biology at the University of Toronto. Her medical degree at Queen's University, did a residency in obstetrics and gynecology, so she knows a thing or two about babies, from the University of Calgary. She's a fellow of the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons and has additional training in anti-aging and regenerative medicine. Unbelievable. Oh yes, and she's a mother of twins. Dr. Prause, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
You know, you are the founder of the Institute for Hormonal Health, and hormones affect us throughout our lives, and it is certainly no different when we're pregnant and afterwards.
Absolutely.
Pregnancy is a wonderful state. I enjoyed being pregnant and, of course, love being a mom. It has an impact on our body, doesn't it?
Oh, it has a huge impact on our body. It's incredibly draining, not only from a nutrient standpoint, whether it be vitamins and minerals and whatnot, but also on our hormones. Our adrenal glands in particular take a real beating with most pregnancies, and it's not uncommon to see something called adrenal fatigue happen after a first pregnancy, and certainly very commonly after a second pregnancy. Often because we never really fully recover from the first pregnancy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's very tough on the body.
Now, when you say adrenal fatigue, for those at home, they might have heard of an adrenal gland. Can you just briefly tell us what does that mean, or more importantly, what are signs and symptoms?
Yeah, so the adrenal glands are small glands that sit on the top of our kidneys and are responsible for production of multiple hormones. The big one being cortisol, which is a stress hormone and meant to help us manage with our stress. The problem is the system can simply be on overload, and when it is on overload, we start to manifest with things like disrupted sleep, mood disruption, so anxiety, depression, irritability. It can manifest with gastrointestinal issues as well.
Yes.
Fatigue probably, though, is the most common symptom of it all.
And as mothers, we often just say, oh, well, of course we're tired. We've got so many balls in the air, we're not sleeping, but there could be that underlying issue.
It absolutely could be, and it is a bit of a vicious circle because it can present with fatigue, but of course fatigue, it drains the system of itself, and sleep is crucial when it comes to supporting our hormones and creating new hormones overnight. So it can be a challenging position to get yourself out of.
Right. Now, as a therapist and treating moms and babies for 2 decades now, one of the things that I think gets really overlooked in terms of feeling isolated is baby blues and postpartum depression. Can you speak a little bit to the hormonal impact that has?
Yeah. Baby blues is typically the emotional ability and the crying spells that happen 7 to 10 days after having a baby, and that's really just hormones adjusting and fluctuating, and that's considered fairly normal. However, if low moods persist beyond that, certainly within the 3 to 6 months range, more often than not, it's something else that is happening, and what we typically see is a progesterone deficiency.
Right.
And that progesterone deficiency underlies a lot of other issues, but it's one of the things that gets lumped in with adrenal fatigue, is a low progesterone level. And so with that postpartum depression, often it's as simple as replacing somebody with progesterone to compensate for that, and that's a safe and easy thing to do while you're breastfeeding.
Okay.
At the end of the day, though, it is important that is in many ways just a symptom of a bigger problem, and so once breastfeeding is done, it needs to be explored further, and adrenal fatigue is what needs to be looked at.
And seeing someone like yourself who's trained in integrative medicine can be really, really helpful, I think, on so many levels. First of all, things that you can do when you're breastfeeding that are safe and effective, but also looking at the holistic picture. You do see a lot of women, do you not, that experience this. Can you speak just very briefly to, supporting women through that whole phase, from prior to getting pregnant through to people like me that went through menopause at 40?
Right. Absolutely. Surrounding pregnancy, of course, because I dealt with pregnant women for a long time, it is a very challenging time in our lives, and culturally we've had a big shift over several decades where we now function independently, and in many ways encourage each other to be, the super mom.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that has its consequences. And once you've had a newborn baby, historically our families would gather around us and they would be there to support us and look after the mom and look after the baby, so that there was a considerable amount of rest and sleep that could happen. And that really doesn't happen anymore. And that's in so many ways unfortunate, because if there is one thing that we could do to reduce our chances of postpartum depression, it's getting adequate amounts of sleep.
Right.
And, unfortunately, we're pulling the couch out from the wall and vacuuming behind it, when the baby's sleeping, and those sorts of things. And so we continue to juggle those balls. And so having a community around becomes very, very important. And
we take for granted, we just say, oh, well, I haven't had sleep, but sleep really is important and a restorative measure. So instead of having someone come to visit, maybe they come and spend time with the baby and you head upstairs and have a nap.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to be good for our adrenals, it's going to be good for our overall well-being, and it's certainly going to be good for our emotional state, which is so important. Mm-hmm. Now, you as a mom as well, you know firsthand this stage. It's such an exciting time. Can you tell everybody your website, because of course if moms want to reach out to you, they can do so?
Yes, it's www.hormonalhealth.ca.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure, so enlightening, and really feeling supported, not just with your family, but with your doctor is so important. Thanks for joining us.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Stay tuned. We've got more coming your way here on WOW Living TV.
My name is Dr. Mata, and I'm a medical doctor, graduated from the University of Toronto in 1991. And I am a family doctor by training, but in the 20 years I have incorporated many different aspects of medicine, from general medicine to pain and rehabilitation, and now my primary focus is cosmetic medicine. Over the years, I've used Boiron's products, and the Arnicare gel and cream are fantastic adjuncts to my office. I currently have a very large cosmetic practice, and patients really don't want to bruise immediately after the procedure. That's sort of counterintuitive to the whole purpose of coming to the office. So the Arnicare gel and the cream are both used immediately post-procedure, and patients like to take that home with them and use it for the next few days to reduce any chance of bruising or swelling. One of the wonderful things about Arnicare is that it can benefit patients from the age of 3 onward up to the elderly. It will help people for bruising. It will help people for sprains and strains. It's wonderful as a rub for acute pain. It's just a great treatment. And then into the cosmetic realm, I can use it for reducing bruising post cosmetic procedures. So it's wonderful when we have a product that can be used over so many different realms within the medical profession. You can't ask for better.
Portal offers a common-sense solution through its FDA-cleared, patented positioning roll to provide support and repositioning for baby's head while encouraging the necessary movement required for baby's development.
Total is best used during the supervised time of the day when mom or dad is taking the baby out in the stroller, the car seat, or the bouncer. The Total is used with the positioning roll placed behind perhaps the left ear. 2 to 3 hours later, I would recommend that the positioning roll be placed behind the right ear. It can also be used in the crib during supervised time. I really don't recommend it for sleep at night. If the baby has a little bit of a flat spot, the positioning roll should be placed right on that spot. If in fact the flat spot seems to be increasing or not improving, my suggestion would be to take the baby in to see your pediatrician and have the flat spot evaluated.
For best results, Total should be worn a minimum of 6 to 8 hours a day, alternating the positioning roll from one side to the other every 2 to 3 hours. Remember, the positioning roll should never be placed over or in front of the ears. Be sure to change which arm you use to hold or feed your baby. Place baby's head on alternate sides of the crib.
The crib is a great place to make change. You can put the baby's head at one end and then transfer it to the other end. The beauty of that is babies tend to look out of the crib.
And remember to practice tummy time.
Tummy time is a really important activity for your baby. I really would suggest that you start tummy time right from the get-go when that baby is just first at home. The beauty of tummy time, and it's really recommended by the Academy of Pediatrics, is that it actually strengthens those neck muscles as the baby lifts the head up, and it also creates a lot of good exercise for the upper body. I'm trying to provide parents with the tools and the knowledge so that they personally can prevent flathead syndrome in their own children.
Thank you, Dr. Matta and Dr. Scott. Now, I have to tell you, as a massage therapist, we have seen a huge increase in our clinic in both torticollis and plagiocephaly, or flathead. And I thought it would be really cool to actually show on camera that very cool little cap that Dr. Scott was talking about, and how important it is to do both tummy time and repositioning of the head in order to prevent flathead in babies. And of course, my favorite thing to have in my medicine chest, Arnica Gel from Boron Laboratories. This is fantastic for muscle aches and pains, and it can even be used on children. And of course, when we have things like torticollis, this can be a go-to product. So now let's switch the conversation to nutrition. And what better person to do that with than our WOW resident registered dietitian, Amy Hayes. Welcome, Amy.
Thanks very much, Mark.
Now, of course, you are also a mom. I just love the fact that all of our guests today on this show are also mummies. And you've been in private practice for over 10 years and are seeing new families on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to both pregnant women, nursing mummies, nutrition is crucial, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, most people understand that nutrition is important when you're breastfeeding, but just to give you some more sort of specifics around it, breastfeeding mothers need an extra 400 calories every day, and that's more than when you're pregnant even. Other nutrients increase by between 20 and 50% in terms of your requirements.
Really?
So, for example, another important one being protein. The average female needs a minimum of 0.66 grams per kilo per day, but when you're breastfeeding, it goes up to 1.05. So there are some fairly significant increases.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that can be a real challenge. I mean, I love to cook and I love to eat, but I remember, not just way back when the kids were little, but even now, but especially when we're nursing, to get that nutrient into our body, some days it's hard to get a shower.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So
right.
How do we support nutrition on the go? How do we help these mummies get the increased calories and nutrients that their body needs?
Yeah. Well, one thing that helps out quite a bit is pre-planning, of course. I find just batch cooking and freezing to be a good strategy. Recruiting help. I mean, ask friends and family when they visit to bring something over for you to eat. Also, having things that you can grab on the go, fruits and vegetables, protein shakes that are safe to take when you're breastfeeding, homemade bars, protein bars, that sort of thing.
Right. And I absolutely, forget just nursing mummies. We often, as parents, make sure we feed our children. And I know, as a mom and a business owner, I can be running out the door without breakfast until I discovered protein shakes. Mm-hmm. Then I'm getting a meal in a cup, and what a difference it makes.
Right.
Now, what about hydration?
Hydration is another, your fluid requirements go up as well when you're breastfeeding. The average female needs 2.8 liters a day. The average breastfeeding woman needs 3.8 liters a day. So just ensuring you're having an extra glass of water while you're breastfeeding is a good way to reach that requirement.
Right. And I know Dr. Manson, who was on earlier in the show, in our breastfeeding clinic, she always likes to promote having electrolytes because water may not be just enough. So having a safe electrolyte drink, not full laden with sugars or sweeteners, right? What do we want to look for when we're looking at drinks?
drinks in general, you want to look at them having very little sugar in them. Exactly. You know, not a lot of, basically looking for ingredients that you can pronounce is always a good thing.
Right.
But yeah, I find with drinks, sugar is the main issue, and then caffeine as well. You want to watch that you're not ingesting the caffeine from those drinks.
Because of course, Dr. Christy Prowse, if she was on set right now, would be telling us what caffeine does to our adrenals.
Yeah.
So it really is, we're talking holistically here, and all these things tie together. Speaking of holistic, we actually got to go to the social media hub because Todd, I understand we have a question out there in the virtual world for Amy.
We actually do. Karen sent us a tweet. She has a toddler who's a picky eater, so she's struggling already to ensure a proper diet for the toddler, but now they've got a new addition to the family, and she's really looking for some tips to make it a bit easier with the second child, not to repeat the same mistakes maybe with the picky eating.
That's a very good question, and it's probably a show all unto itself, picky eating, right? There's a lot of research around picky eating, and in a nutshell, parents are responsible. There's a division of responsibilities when it comes to the feeding relationship, and parents are responsible for the what, the where, and the when. So the what being the food that's on the table, making sure it's well balanced and nutritious, and also includes foods that the child's familiar with.
Right.
At least one. The second is the where, so the environment. It's important to have a positive environment, a calm environment, and you know, families who eat together are healthier. There's research to show that.
On so many levels, not just physically, but emotionally. For our family, that's our time to connect and get caught up.
Absolutely. And so you want that to be a positive experience for them. And then the when. So children do best when they're fed on a schedule or some sort of structure within their day. So they sort of know when the next meal is coming, and parents to avoid providing snacks in between those times. You know, 3 meals, 2 or 3 snacks a day, and then it's the child's responsibility to decide how much, and really it's up to them.
And it can become a real struggle, and there is a real psychology, isn't there, around food, and we want to set that psychology early and model.
Exactly, and so children, often the only thing they can control in their life is the food they eat, and it can be their way of controlling their environment. And so for parents not to get overly stressed about that, as long as you're looking at your 3 responsibilities and taking care of them, the rest should fall into place.
Can you repeat that, please? Because I know not just Karen that sent in the question, but we see this in the clinic every day. We want to be the best parents we can be, and there's that struggle, and we're hard on ourselves. So say that again. We don't want to stress, because it will become...
Yeah, the stress that the children can pick up on that, and that creates a negative relationship with food, which down the road can create problems with eating, just disordered eating habits, that sort of thing, emotional eating. So parents, don't stress, just look after your what, where, and when, and the rest will take care of itself.
Now, I know in the clinic the other day, I always love to share resources, and you had a great one for a family, a website. It's a dietitian who is also a psychologist, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
And what is her name?
Ellen Satter.
Ellen Satter. So she's got a great book. So Karen, for the out in virtual world, Karen, that may be a great website to check out, because it's got some great resources. Now, lastly, just because we're really excited about this, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the pilot program that we're thinking about doing in collaboration with Dr. Manson at our clinic with regards to supporting breastfeeding women with nutrition to help with their well-being and the well-being of their babies. Can you just speak a little bit to the fact of what we're going to do to help support these moms have success while they're breastfeeding? And if you're interested, we want them to contact us.
Yeah, we're really excited. We're going to be doing a pilot where we're going to be taking some breastfeeding moms and supplementing their diet with the additional calories you need when you're breastfeeding, the protein, and we're going to see how that affects different outcomes. So baby weight, just sort of perceived moms' sense of health and well-being as well.
Right, yeah. We're really, really excited about it. And of course, you've got some great recipes to share, which, by the way, we will make sure, go to wallaceforwellness.com. We will put up a couple of the recipes that you have for quick and easy healthy meals for young families to keep it simple. And if you're interested in being part of the pilot, reach out to us at wallaceforwellness.com or tweet us or send us a message on Facebook, because it would be really great to have some mums involved in that program with us.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, Amy, it's always such a pleasure to sit down with you. Now, as a registered dietitian, many mums may not know they may have coverage to come and see you in the clinic.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people have extended health benefits through their employer.
Right. So, moms, don't sit at home wondering how you're going to do. And one last thing. This is not, at breastfeeding, a time to worry about weight loss, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. As I just mentioned, you actually need more. So just focus on being healthy, nourishing your body, nourishing your baby. Stay active. That's a good way to look after your weight. But certainly now is not the time to be dieting.
That's right.
And restricting your calories.
Thanks so much for joining us. Stay tuned, because we'll be right back. Hi everyone, it's Margaret Wallace Duffy from WOW TV, and I'm excited to be here at the Halton Hills Gymnastic Club, hanging out with some of my best girls. This is my daughter Carly and her good buddy Sarah, and of course my friend Fern McCracken from Learn Through Play. Now, we do know that many of our children are spending too much time sitting behind a screen, and they are not being as physically active, and the importance of that for their overall health long term is so important. Fern, why are we here in a gym? What can parents be doing to help break this cycle of sedentary lifestyle?
Well, gymnastics is a really great activity to develop upper body strength, and that's so important. And a lot of the activities that children do involve the lower muscle groups. Absolutely. Like running and biking and jogging and skating. So gymnastics is a really great opportunity to start working some of the upper body. And we're going to demonstrate an activity that parents can do at home to help their children develop some upper body strength.
And this is kind of cool because it's fun to do at home, but then when the girls actually come to the gym for their class, they're going to be superstars at it. So girls, let's get started.
Yes, come on over here. So this is a simple skill. It's actually a bear walk, and we use animal walks in gymnastics. Go ahead, Carly. And to teach physical literacy to children so that they gain that upper arm strength. So you can see them weight bearing on their arms. Right. It's not a full push-up position, so it's easier for them to achieve. And then we give them a little extra challenge of dipping. When the bear gets to the polka dot pond, they can dip down and take a drink. And that again is building that upper arm strength. It's so important for later in the sport, learning handstands and cartwheels and back handsprings and all of those great skills that they do where they're weight bearing on their arms.
And as a therapist, from a health perspective, girls especially have weak upper bodies and you're more prone to injury. And so if we lead by example as parents, and actually I'm going to get down there and do one of the bear walks, and I'm going to show you how the bear drinks from the pond too, because you need to lead by example, because when we are stronger upper bodies, stronger core, we have less injury and we're able to enjoy and be active for life.
Let's cheer on, girls.
You ready? Oh, I'm going to try it, okay? And then we're out of here. I want you going home to do some at your pond. All right, girls.
All right. There you go. Hey! Dip. Woohoo! Good one. Keep going. Keep going.
Is anybody following me? Come on, guys.
You follow her? Excellent.
So as you can see, you're never too young and never too old to be active for life. This is Margaret Wallace Duffy from WOW TV. Get busy and stay active. One of my favorite things to do here at the Baby Time Show is hang out with little guys like this one. This is baby Aiden, and I've met him before. In fact, I've massaged him before. But what another really cool thing is that I'm here with Chris, Daddy. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you.
So you're here at the Boron booth, and you told me you're a raving fan.
I am, yep. We've used every product they have, especially with the teething. getting another tooth in right now, so we've been using the Camilla, and he's been loving it. All their products have really worked for him. Even when he was younger with the colic, it's been really good for him. So it's helped us with the sleeping and him being more comfortable.
You know what? And as a parent, that's what you need. You need those things in your parenting toolbox that make a difference. Keep them healthy and happy. And I'm telling you, look how cute this little guy is. Stay tuned, because we got lots more coming your way from the Baby Time Show. Say bye, Aiden. Bye. Welcome back. Now, we were just enjoying that clip. We love daddies. And by the way, after the show, stay tuned, because Listen Up is doing our after show, and we're going to have some daddy bloggers weighing in and talking to us about their experience becoming a parent. Now, speaking of experience as a parent, it is an absolute pleasure to have someone sitting next to me who knows a little bit about parenting. She is a mother of six children. She is the co-founder of Mabel's Labels, a phenomenal company that many of you know about, and she's also a parenting blogger. Julie Cole, welcome.
Thank you.
It is such a pleasure to finally meet you in person. We've been tweeting back and forth, but to sit down next to a fellow mom and someone who's passionate about parenting, it's great to have you on the show.
Thanks so much.
So I'd like to talk to you when I look at the hats that you wear, and women wear many hats, but as a mother, as a business owner, as a wife, as a woman, how do we balance this crazy thing called life?
Right. Well, it's interesting, because I have certainly a lot on my plate. I have always been one of those people who functions best with a full plate. That expression, if you want to get something done, ask a busy person to do it. I am that guy. Yeah. But I think what I don't do is I don't focus on the imbalance. So what I do is, if things feel like they're getting off kilter, if I feel like, okay, I'm working too much, I'm not spending enough time with the kids, or vice versa, I don't dwell on it. I simply make a change. And I think sometimes we forget that we are empowered to do that. We can make these changes in our lives. We are the author of our own books. And we need to remind ourselves that we can make simple changes. I don't dwell on it. I don't feel guilty about it. I always say I gave them guilt 4 kids ago. It's a complete waste of time. I don't have time to carry guilt around. I make a mistake. I learn from it. I move on.
You know what? And you use the word empowered, and I totally agree with that. I know, we talked before the show, I feel very fortunate. I'm passionate about what I do, and I can feel the passion from you. But I think as women, we do need to support one another. And you really did say something about readjusting and rebalancing. Early in the show, our mind-body coach, Michelle Armstrong, talked about being good to ourselves. I think, would you agree that women sometimes are tough on ourselves and we feel like we're not being enough to everyone? It does also start with us. We have to be happy too.
Yes, we do have to be happy, but I think I always say the very best gift that I have, and it's not something you can get a prescription for, or you can buy, or it's perspective. Yeah. And that has been my key strategy in surviving this crazy life. And I really don't sweat the small stuff. I really can't let myself. Nobody's going to talk at my funeral about my clean house and my beautifully dressed kids and my magnificent meals, and I'm okay with that. Yeah. And I think we do put pressure on ourselves. And it's okay to get to that point. I feel like I'm at that point where I don't actually. I'm good. I know I'm not perfect. I'm not afraid to ask for help. I have a community. It takes a village to raise a child, and I've got a great village, and I will use that. And I think the sooner we can let go of what we think the expectations are, or what we think we need to be, and we can just be, then we can be better mothers, we can be happier women, and we can be more effective and productive at work.
And having that strength to know exactly, as you said, what matters to you, what's your reality and your perspective is so important, because I think we're often judging ourselves against others, and that's not what we should be doing. Your perspective may be different than mine, and that's okay.
And that's okay. We need to own it. We need to celebrate it, and we need to encourage each other. I mean, in the community of moms, sometimes we get a little bit, kind of sticking our nose in other people's business. Well, you know what? We don't know, what's working for them let it work for them. What works for you, we're all different people, and it's okay.
Absolutely.
And the kids are all right.
Exactly. Okay, so I do have to talk about Mabel's Labels, because organization, when you're a new mom, on so many levels, really brings serenity and clarity. Can you speak a little bit? I'm sure everybody out there knows Mabel's Labels. Can you talk a little bit about your story?
Okay, so yes, I started Mabel's Labels with 3 other women 11 years ago. And it was the result, actually, of my oldest child getting an autism diagnosis. And I wanted to be able to spend a little bit more time with him. And we had this really good business idea that kept kind of nagging at us. So when he was diagnosed and I knew I needed to advocate for him, start a therapy program, I turned my basement into a therapy center. But I also knew that working for me would make me probably a more balanced person, mother, because for me, that's how that works, not for everybody.
Right.
So I said something else, guys, now's the time to start our business. What do you think? And we started it and we haven't looked back. And now we are, we've sold, we're in over 100 countries. We're in Walmart. We've got a retail line. We have 40 full-time employees. It's been so very exciting. We just made the Profit 500 list.
Yay!
And lots of entrepreneurial awards, lots of features, lots of great stuff. And, we've really enjoyed the social media piece, connecting to our community of moms. I love blogging. I've been blogging for years. It's just been such our customers are moms. They're our peeps, and it's just been a fabulous ride.
And speaking of peeps, here in our audience, we've got some of the cutest peeps, and one of them that was your biggest fan, because you are the girl that makes her labels.
I know, I'm the label lady.
You're the label lady, and she loves her labels, right?
She's my girl. That's my best customer.
That's right. Well, thank you for joining us, because I think that, whether you are a brand new mom with your first child or a mother of 6, I know as a mom of 2 with aging parents, the balancing act of life, trying to be good to ourselves, be good to our community, that we really do take some of the pressure off and use the word that keeps coming up is to empower ourselves to be who we want to be for ourselves and our families.
We have a lot of competing interests. Yes. We sure do. So we just need to, make sure we understand what they are, prioritize correctly, and listen to our guts. When things are off kilter, our guts will tell us, and then simply make the change.
Thank you so much for joining us. Will you come back on another show?
Right.
All right. Thank you, Julie. We've got more coming, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. Well, it's a beautiful day and we're hanging out under the maple tree with some friends. This is Mitch and Kate, my daughter Carly, and a good friend Fern McCracken, who's a sports and recreation consultant. Welcome, Fern.
Thank you, Mark.
Now, I understand you were hanging out with my son Blake the other day talking about physical literacy and kids, and it can start as early as this age, about a year or even a bit younger. And you're talking to Blake about the necessary skills needed for various sports, but who knew that hanging out under the maple tree with some bubbles? Why'd you bring bubbles, and how is that related to physical literacy?
Well, Mark, physical literacy can start as early as toddler age, and we can start teaching some of those skills that we did with Blake earlier in learning how to throw and catch, and you're really excited to start. Throwing and catching, and part of throwing and catching is tracking the object, the ball, with your eyes and predicting where it's going to land. So we're going to try a little activity of catching bubbles on your finger.
And Carly, you're good at this, so you're going to try. Now, of course, the whole thing is that they can predict it because it takes time to drop. You don't always have that when you're out in the environment like this, so the wind can pick them up, but that is the concept, to track it with their eyes and to catch it.
Absolutely, and if we were indoors, it would give them lots of airtime. The bubbles hang for quite a while before they would need to predict where to move their finger to intercept it.
Mitch is saying, let's see some bubbles. Let's see some bubbles. Look, Mitch.
Look, Mitch. Look at the bubbles. Oh, pretty bubbles.
Can you get it, Carly? Good job.
So you can see them tracking with their eyes and following the bubbles. And that's one of the first steps in learning physical literacy and getting some hand-eye coordination.
Well, and really, to do hand-eye coordination,
Even as an adult, everybody loves bubbles, and what a great thing to do at a picnic, sitting outside with your family, putting out a blanket, put out the kids with a friend, even furry friends, and play with bubbles.
Absolutely.
Now, if we want more information about physical literacy, where can we send people to go take a look and read more?
Definitely. If you go to the Canadian Sport for Life website, and they have all kinds of information for parents, for coaches, and for athletes about physical literacy.
And of course, when friends get together, she was feeding Mitch some lunch and having some fun. So we're just going to hang out here under the tree on a beautiful afternoon, blowing bubbles and having some fun. Make sure you tune in for some more neat things for your kids on WOW TV. There are many generations that hang out at Baby Time Show, and I'm standing right now with a family, a multiple birth, beautiful twin boys, Mom Monique, and of course Grandma too. Welcome to Baby Time.
Thank you.
So introduce these beautiful babes to me.
We have Mikhail over here and Matthew, and they're both 10.5 months.
And we are still here at the Boron booth, and you were telling me as a mom with 2 children, double the trouble, double the pleasure, of course. Why are you using the Boron products, and what do you love about them?
The products are amazing. As soon as they get a cold, you just give it to them, and it's gone within like a day or 2. And I also have a 6-year-old daughter, and there's products for her as well, and it's really, really good. I've always been giving it to them. Every month they almost get a cold, and no problem.
You know what, and as a mom myself and a therapist, it is so important to have something in your medicine chest that you can draw on, and especially for this age.
Oh yes, definitely, because there's hardly anything out there on the market nowadays that you can give like a 1-month-old, you know?
Exactly.
And this product's amazing.
Well, thank you, boys.
You're welcome.
And Mama and Grandma, I love seeing entire families down here at the Baby Time Show. Stay tuned for more, because there's lots going on down here at the show. If you're not here yet, come on down.
Hi everyone, and welcome back. Now we are here at Stratosphere Yoga in Vaughan, and it wouldn't be possible without them welcoming with open arms into their doors, Jessie Lopez from Stratosphere. Thank you so much for allowing us to come here.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Now, we know that Trish Stratus, who is the founder of Stratosphere Yoga, became a mom recently as well.
She did. She's actually a new mom. It's a big experience for her. It's something very new for her. So the transition was, I guess, a little harder in the beginning for her, and she's doing great now.
Absolutely, and great on so many levels. She's been so supportive of opening the door. We had our first Moms Brunch Club here, and then decided to do the show here.
Which was great.
And she's such an advocate for healthy, active living and family. So it's so important that we talk a little bit about what you do here at Stratosphere Yoga. Now, as a mom and a healthcare professional myself, I love yoga for the mind-body connection. Tell us a little bit about the services that you offer here at Stratosphere.
Okay, so Stratosphere is actually yoga. We have different classes here. We have Stratosphere Yoga, we have abs yoga, Pilates yoga, prenatal, postnatal.
Awesome.
As well, we offer kids yoga.
Oh.
We also have that as well here for the weekends. And then we have our Zumba.
Fun.
Which is something a little bit different, something fun, but we strictly mainly focus on the yoga here.
Yeah. Now I know as a mom myself, yoga is an opportunity for me to have that downtime, that opportunity to really listen to my body, to have that time to meditate, and I'm sure that you see women coming here for that exact reason.
We do. We have so many women that come here, and it's basically time for themselves. It's that time for them to kind of relax, forget about everything, practice the yoga, get the benefits of yoga, which is the physical and mental benefits, and they enjoy it. They love it. It's that hour and a half that is their time to themselves to just focus on them and just, you know, forget about everything else.
You bet. Now, I know that Trish developed her own yoga.
Yes.
Called Stratosphere Yoga.
It's Stratosphere Yoga.
And can you tell us a little bit? I know you've got something in your hand there.
I do. Actually, Stratosphere Yoga is a different kind of yoga that targets different muscles in your body. It actually is something that increases your heart rate, which helps burn your calories as well.
Right.
So with the fit gloves, it's actually really easy. They're very light. They're not too heavy. You just fit them on.
And they've got some weight in there.
Yeah, it's 1 pound. which kind of increases that physical yoga that we offer with Stratosphere.
Right.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Stratosphere yoga. And it goes on both hands, and you can actually do exercise with this. You can do housework with this. A lot of women, they say, you know what, I just put them on, and I start vacuuming, I start cleaning, and it gives me that extra little weight, which is, you know, really great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's actually a really good product that she came up with for her.
And you can get those here or online?
Yes, definitely. Online, you can get them here, and yeah, definitely practice with the any kind of yoga class.
Great. Well, thank you so much once again for opening the doors, and of course, thank you to you, Trish, for really being an advocate for women's well-being. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more from Stratosphere Yoga.
I'm Dr. Christy Prose. I'm an obstetrician and gynecologist with additional training in anti-aging and regenerative medicine, and currently I focus my practice on a holistic and integrative approach to hormonal health. Oscillococcinum is a homeopathic remedy that's been clinically proven to shorten the duration of flu-like symptoms, so things like backaches and headaches and fevers and chills. It's really great for the entire family for many different reasons. It's non-drowsy. It's dissolvable under the tongue. It's sweet tasting. So from a kid perspective, that's a wonderful feature. And it's really easily accessible. It's available in pharmacies and supermarkets. The other thing too is that depending on where you're at in the stage of the flu-like symptoms, you can take it accordingly.
On WOW Living Television, there's never a dull moment.
We love bringing you the latest in living well.
We've got lots of yummy things coming up.
All of these things come together to support a healthy lifestyle.
We are honored to have with us Amy Sky, Juno-nominated singer and songwriter,
and keeping you up to date with health and wellness.
And fitness.
And play.
You might even learn something.
Good posture can help prevent headaches and backaches throughout the day.
But you won't be bored.
So be sure you join us for WOW Living TV.
And have your voice heard. Follow #WowTV and interact with us live. So we're happy to have back Dr. Nadine Manson from the Doctor's Breastfeeding Clinic. Now, Dr. Manson, earlier we talked about benefits, but support is a really big issue to have success in breastfeeding. And I know, Todd, over in our social media hub, you have a question from someone in the virtual world. What's happening out there?
We actually had a daddy blogger named David who asked us a question that crossed my own mind at one point when my kids were a lot smaller. How can a partner support and help a breastfeeding mommy and be more part of the process?
Well, you know what? That's such a great question. And Todd, thank you for recognizing that you are a daddy and that this is actually a really important topic to you as well. So how do daddies support a breastfeeding mom?
So one of the things I'll give an example of is when I first decided to breastfeed my own child, my husband was sitting on the fence about it. And he said, "You're not just going to whip a boob out anywhere, are you?" and I said, "No, I'm more than happy to go to a bedroom to breastfeed if you come and sit there to keep me company." And it's that kind of interaction with a husband and wife that you work through the issues that you each have over it. If daddy can be supportive when mommy breaks down in tears, and rather than say, "Let me go get a bottle of formula for me," say, "Can I just carry the baby outside and take him for a little walk and I'll bring him back to you?"
Right.
That is way more supportive. It lets mommy get things together. So you go to the bathroom for the first time in 4 hours.
Right.
And then dad thinks he's doing something. And my husband actually every Saturday morning took my twins and the other two boys out to the park. I nursed, he took them out to the park, and I got to sleep for 2 hours.
Perfect.
And it's that kind of thing. My husband's job was to bathe the baby. My job was to feed the baby. And that's just the way we as a couple worked it. And I think it's that couple interaction that you work it through. But if you fall apart when your wife falls apart, that's not helpful. Right. If you tell her what to do when your wife falls apart, that's not helpful either.
No, that's never helpful.
So that, you know, saying, I want to help you. I believe what you're doing is right. and we'll make it through this.
Right.
And make it a team. We'll make it through this.
Do you know, one of the things I love at the clinic, you know, every morning during the week, we've got mummies and daddies and grandparents coming to the clinic. And it's really great to see. And I guess my question is, has there been a change in the years that you've been practicing? Seeing more daddies actually involved and being there. I see these dads in our clinic every morning, and I think it's marvelous.
And you know, I love the fact that dads are there, and I love the fact that they can ask questions. Because often the mom can feel very isolated and trying to deal with this by herself. And if dad's there and he's a cheerleader, you know, often that's what dad is. He's a cheerleader. He's saying, you can do it. We'll make it through this, you know. And knowing, you know, he can pull the chin down when mom's hands are full trying to get that good latch.
Right.
And yes, I've seen a change.
That's a great tip. Because dads are physical, tactile creatures. They want to put their hands on. And if they can physically go to the clinic and actually see how they can physically help mom support
Pull the chin down, tickle the toes, get a wet cloth, whatever you need to in those first days.
Right.
And, you know, just be there and be helpful in run interference for mom.
Right.
That's the other thing that you can be really helpful with, is recognize that your main priority is to take care of the baby. The visitors, the in-laws, they're second priority.
Right. And you know what? And we do want to show our baby off, and we do want to have that family time. But sometimes dad can be the gatekeeper to make sure that that both mommy and baby are going to be healthy and happy.
Exactly. And if mom's completely exhausted because she's feeding the baby, and then the visitors come and then she's feeding the baby, and she doesn't get to sleep, then that's not going to be a happy mom or a happy dad.
Absolutely. Well, you're always full of such great information, whether it's here on the show or in the clinic. And for all of you moms and dads and grandparents out there, the Doctor's Breastfeeding Clinic is there for you to help support your experience breastfeeding, because it is such an important, as you heard at the beginning of the show, and it's such an important aspect of supporting the health and well-being, not just of you, but of the baby as well. We'd like to say a huge thank you to Boron Canada, because without them, this show would not be possible. And of course, to all those mummy bloggers and their beautiful babies for making the atmosphere in this studio fantastic. And we want to thank Stratosphere Yoga for opening their doors and allowing us to come into this beautiful space. So please stay in touch, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We would love to hear from you. So until next time, be well.